What up, guys? It's Alan Solorio, another episode of Alanizing, and today, got Super Bowl 58, right? So we're going to get into my opinions, my takes on the game, what happened after the game, actual outcomes and things of the game, like what happened after that. Then we're going to get into my predictions, see how my predictions planned out, which ones I got right, which ones I got wrong, like from the MVP, the awards, the playoff teams I picked, my Super Bowl predictions, all those things, right? Into one. But let's start off with Super Bowl 58. As you guys know, I'm a Niner fan. And that game, man, this game, Super Bowl 58, was depressing. I was devastated. I'm still devastated. A week later, dude, I'm still devastated about it. Because this one hurt, in my opinion. Yeah, I don't know about other Niner fans. I talked about this with my boy Felipe. Shout out Felipe, Niner fan as well. To us, this Super Bowl is more painful than Super Bowl 54. This one hurt more, and I don't know his reasoning exactly, but my reasoning was because for me, I picked them to go to Super Bowl. I picked them to win Super Bowl this year, and you guys know I don't like to make those sort of predictions. I don't. I wouldn't say I'm superstitious, but I'm a little stitious. Okay, I just don't like to make those predictions. And why I made that prediction was because I really felt that we're gonna win this year. And this whole year, I was like, I just know we're gonna make it there. I just know. And to the whole year, for us to get to that point and lose in the fashion that we did, I'm gonna talk about that later. It just depresses me, bro. And I'm just devastated. All that, the game, all I said, mixed with the years of devastation, the years of hurt from last year, getting Purdy getting injured in the NFC Championship game, Jimmy Garoppolo sucking in the 2021 NFC Championship game, lost to the Rams, 2020 being a down year, all the injuries, it's just years and years leading up to this, and it's just, man. And then we have 4 or 5 players go down at the worst time. Are we cursed? What is wrong? Why do our players always get injured at these type of end of the season? It goes back to our coaching staff, not the coach, the strength and conditioning coach. Why are our players always injured? Is that we play so physical, or what is it? But Dre Greenlaw tore his Achilles jumping up and down, being excited to go into the field. That is the worst luck for a player, for a team. What is that? I feel so bad for him. How does that even happen? I know he had something with his Achilles. I forgot what tendonitis. I think it's Achilles tendonitis or something like that. It's called something like that. He was suffering with that. And I guess just jumping up and down the Achilles was, I wouldn't say weak, it was pretty weak and fragile. So then now him to bounce up and down, it just tore. Just surprising and just disappointing. Devo went out for a few plays and then came back. He wasn't 100%. Kittle didn't have his greatest game, but he went out for a bit and came back. Feliciano, I don't think he came back. He got injured. Then our safety, Jair Brown, got injured making a tackle on Kelsey, but then he came back. So, it was just these mixed injuries. What? At the worst times. And that's why I'm devastated. But let's get on to the actual game. Take off my emotions to the side. Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes. He won Super Bowl MVP. He was 34 for 46, 333 yards, touchdown reception ratio 2-1, 75 QBR, and a passer rating of 99.3. I mean, the guy's he's just one of the greatest of all time now. I had him in my top 5 last year already after he won that Super Bowl versus Philadelphia last year. I already had him in my top 5. And I'll talk about it more later, but he's making his way up. He's making his way up, and he's a different breed. Now, I wouldn't say hate, because I'm mostly just biased from him being 2 of his Super Bowls, of his 3 Super Bowls were against the Niners. So taking the bias out of it, he's just good. He's just that good. And it pains me, man. It pains me to say that, because he's just beating us. But from taking away the point that I used to not like after watching that Netflix quarterback, I just started liking him because he's a real guy. You could tell he's a football fan. He's a genuine dude who just has the talent to be an NFL quarterback. So, I gotta applaud him on that. I gotta be respect for that. He's just one of them guys. One of them guys. The Chiefs had 130 yards rushing as a team. And I think Pacheco averaged, the whole rushing unit got 4 yards per carry. I think Mahomes is around there. One of the top 2 leading rushers for the Chiefs. Kelce had 9 receptions, 93 yards. And the first half, he was getting locked up. I think he only had 1 catch for 1 yard. And then but second half, he was cooking us. And Hardman had the game-winning touchdown, right? Our defense, talking about them out, trapping up Kelce, our defense was smothering them the first half, especially the defensive line. Bosa and Chase Young were killing the outside tackles. Jawan Taylor and I think Donovan. I think. Well, I know it was Jawan Smith for sure on the right. And Mahomes had no time. He looked flustered in the first half. We had 3 sacks, 75 QB hits, countless pressures. Nick Bosa stopped countless drives by having QB contained. Like I was saying, Kelce struggled the whole time. One catch for 1 yard until the second half in overtime. And that's when the special teams turnover caught us by surprise, which led to the MVS touchdown. And that pretty much, the last drive, our defense was gassed in overtime. They gave everything the whole game, especially in the first half. And in the end, they just couldn't hold on. And I gotta give credit to Mahomes. Gotta give him credit just for pulling it out again. Just gotta give credit. My boy Brock Purdy, he was 23 for 38. He was 255 yards passing. He had 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions, a 69 QBR, 89.3 passer rating. In my opinion, he played well enough. He missed some throws, but I think he played well enough. And I think it was just a product of the whole system not functioning right that made him miss a few throws. That's in my opinion. CMC, Christian McCaffrey, would have been the Super Bowl MVP, I think, if he won. He had 22 carries, 80 yards on the ground. In the air, he had 8 receptions, 80 yards, 1 touchdown, 160 yards total. He did have that fumble, which, I mean, it was I think it was a big factor because this game was so close, 25-22, and it was the beginning of the game. It didn't really turn over momentum, but I mean, if we score on the first drive of the game, and the way the Chiefs were playing, I think it really shell shocks them, man. The game probably goes a different way, so that fumble was big. And but I think he still played a great game, take off the fumble. Jennings, also, I think he was in the running for Super Bowl MVP. He had 4 catches, 42 yards, and that 1 touchdown receiving and 1 touchdown pass to McCaffrey. I think he was pretty big this game. Chiefs defense, though, I got to give them credit. They played well like our defense. They had 1 sack, 11 QB hits. They kept us scoreless in the third quarter. They made Trent Williams false start twice. That never happens, and they did that. So I got to give them credit. And I got to give them credit for shaking up our offense. Our whole offensive unit was shaky. We had penalties. The one I was talking about, Trent and Ayuk, we had missed plays. The last play, I think before overtime, or the 2 before overtime, where Ayuk is in the back of the end zone, wide open, but it was missed because of Chris Jones' pressure. So the play could have never happened because Chris Jones got there, and it was. People want to say it was Spencer Burford's fault. I'm not an offensive line expert, so I don't know. I'm not 100%, but most people want to blame it on him and say he didn't follow his blocking assignment, so that's why Chris Jones got open. And if that's true, man, I don't know. That's horrible. At that time, if we just give one body on him, and Christian McCaffrey too, he's going outside. If he just gives him a block or something, or just gets in his way, maybe Purdy finds time to give it to IU, but we don't know, man. The O-line wasn't playing well. Our receivers were getting jammed a lot. Those but I gotta give Chiefs credit. The defense, Jarius Sneed and all those guys, they were jamming them. And the schemes were not good enough at times. The route running was not good enough, and that's probably why we lost the game. It just wasn't good enough offensively the whole day, and you can't do that against that boy Mahomes. So just bad play overall. But There's been a lot of blame for my coach, Coach Shanahan, for two plays and one big thing that we're going to talk about. Just let's get to the first two plays. Okay, first play was the Ayuk play that I mentioned in the back of the end zone. It's 3rd and 5, just 2 minutes left, and instead of running the ball to kill clock and possibly have more of a chance at a first down, right? I think we have more of a chance if we run the ball to pass it to Christian McCaffrey. He selects a pass play in which Spagnuolo blitzes and it's incomplete. And I believe we should have ran the ball there. So I agree with the criticism from everyone else saying we need to run the ball or give the ball more to McCaffrey. I think in that circumstance we should have, because I think we just have more opportunity if we run the ball to get that first down. However, though, the second play, I think it's in our overtime, our first drive in overtime. We're like at the KC, the drive ends like at us at Kansas City's 9-yard line, and instead of going for it, we kicked a field goal. And some people are criticizing that for saying you got to get the win, or even criticizing that we shouldn't have selected to get the ball anyways. We should have just deferred it. But anyways, I think the whole call is right because it's an overtime, right? We go for it. If we go for it on that, forgot what it was, 3rd and something. If we go for it and we miss it, the Chiefs just gotta play for a field goal and they probably win. But since we scored a field goal, they gotta go down to the field to score, which they did. So I gotta give them credit again. Then there's a criticism, like I said, back to that we should have wanted the ball first. I think it was the right call because of what I mentioned. Our D was playing a great game and they were gassed at the end of the game. They were gassed. I think Shanahan wanted to give them, he probably did know we should have the ball first, I think. Because then we're going to talk about something else, but he probably wanted the ball first. He probably wanted to defer the kick, but he said our defense is gassed. We got to give them a break. Let's just try to get a score, and then I think they'll be rested enough to get a stop. And if we get a stop in overtime, if we score, if we get a field goal like we did, if we get a stop in overtime, we win the game. He put the trust in the defense, and we came up short. Defense came up short, so I'm actually with Shanahan on this. But this is what I'm not with him, okay? That the players were not prepared. And I think that's the most embarrassing thing. Not even the loss, but just if that's why we lost. That's the most embarrassing thing, bro. Our players didn't know the overtime rules. And that's just straight unacceptable. Armstead and Juszczyk straight up said, and the mic'd up after the game, we didn't know the overtime rules. We thought we could score first and the game is over. How embarrassing would that have been if we score on the first drive and then they're all celebrating? Like, let's say that I play to... but let's just say we score, right? We score in overtime, and then the 49ers players, the whole sideline goes up, and they're all waving their arms like, we won, and then everyone's just like, what are you talking about? There's still got a game to go. You about to have a delay of a game. That would be so embarrassing, bro. Like, what? And just hearing after the game that they really didn't know the rules, I was like, bro, what? Like, this is 2 years ago that they changed the rule. They changed it because of the guy you're playing against. That's why they changed it, because he could have scored and Josh Allen couldn't have scored. He didn't score in that 2021 thing. They wanted to give him a chance. That's why they changed the rules. That was 2 years ago. That was 2021 playoffs. And for you not to understand it now, for you not to know that's the rule change, like that's embarrassing. That's humiliating. Like, come on. And then that's from a player perspective as an NFL coach. How are you an NFL coach and you don't have this prepared? How do your players not know this? How did you not go over this when you're reviewing the whole games? Like, if we go to overtime, this is our plan. How do you not have this? And I want to defend Shanahan. A lot of people are calling for, like, this is a fireable offense. And it is. It is a fireable offense that he didn't have him prepared. But the only reason that we're here, we're Super Bowl contenders, is because he's our coach. But this is just straight unacceptable that you don't have this. Like, come on. I don't even know how to feel because I'm a Niner fan. I think maybe if it was someone else, I'd kill him. But I mean, bro, like, since I'm a Niner fan and I know everything he's done for the team, I'm hesitant, but that is just terrible, bro. Like, the only reason I wouldn't fire him is because he's the main catalyst of why we are where we're at, of why we're Super Bowl contenders in the first place. But I mean, it is a fire, but I wouldn't really blame if they fired him for that, because like, damn, like really for that, if that's the reason we lost, because you didn't have him well prepared enough, that's crazy. That would really drive me insane. But I'm gonna back him up because I'm a loyal guy. Like I've said 3 times already, he's the main reason why we're here. So I'm not gonna get up all on him. But I think the game, I forgot to mention the score. The game finished like 25-22 with the McCole Hardman touchdown at the end of the game in overtime. So yeah, man, that sucks. But we'll see how we go up for next year. See how many roster changes we make. We fired Steve Wilkes, our defensive coordinator, and some people say it's a scapegoat. I wouldn't really say it's a scapegoat. I mean, we have to change something, and the coach is not gonna fire himself. Okay, so that's up to Jed York. And I think he fired Steve Wilkes not because our defense was trash this game, because we played great this game, but during that 3-game losing streak, their defense wasn't well. I think the philosophies that Shanahan and Wilkes have don't really mesh, and Shanahan's probably just looking for something else for our defense. And they were giving a lot of criticism to Wilkes this season, so that's why I think he made the change. I don't think he's getting scapegoated, because he's not the reason we lost this game. It's not the reason, but I think you got to change something when you lose, so they got to change Wilkes throughout the season, how we planned out. So I think that's what happened. Okay, maybe I'm seeing through a biased turns of view, but that's just how I see it. Now, a lot of people, which I think is weird, but I mean, this is just what happens. This is the media. This is how sports media works. A lot of people saying Mahomes is the GOAT now, and it's gonna be a no for me. I think that's an insane take. You still got Brady, okay? Still got Tom, and I still got Montana as my 1 and 2. So I don't even have him at number 2. Not yet. Brady number 1, okay? He's got 7 Super Bowls. He's got all the rings, all the records, blah blah blah. Yes, I know Payman. Yes, I know Patrick Mahomes has 3 and 5 years. My boy Brady had 3 and 4 years. So let's calm the brakes. I think Mahomes had better stats, obviously, but I mean, it's a passing league right now, and when Brady's early 2000s, not a passing league. They ran the ball more, so can't even compare the stats. But 3-4 and 3 and 5 for Mahomes. Okay, so Brady number 1 still, because he's the GOAT, obviously. I still have Montana because he still has the 4 Super Bowls. Again, might be Niner bias, but 4 Super Bowls, 4-0, never threw a pick in the Super Bowl. Still gotta have Montana there at number 2. Now, you already know. Y'all listened to me before. I already had Mahomes at number 4 last year after that Super Bowl win against Philadelphia. But now I can see there's an argument for 3 ahead of Peyton Manning. Now, I wouldn't say that just yet, but I know I see the argument. But I wouldn't say that because Peyton Manning has 5 NFL MVPs. Okay, 5. That's the most anyone's ever had in the NFL history. He has 5 NFL MVPs. Mahomes has 2, which, I mean, it's not horrible, but I mean, 5 better than 2. But Mahomes, he's a way better playoff quarterback than Peyton Manning ever was. Mahomes is 15-3 in 6 years starting in the NFL. 15-3. Peyton Manning, for his career in the playoffs, is 14-13 for his career. That's like 18 seasons or something now. 14-13 compared to 15-3. Like, that's insane. So I mean, Mahomes is a way better playoff quarterback. So I can see it. I can see if you want to put. I wouldn't. It's not asinine if you want to say Mahomes is better than Peyton Manning. I'd be like, oh yes. It makes sense. But you have to make me think about it, because those 5 NFL MVPs just stick with me. But then I think about Mahomes is way better in the playoffs, and that's what matters. Those 5 NFL season MVPs, that's the regular season. What matters what happens in the postseason. That's the big thing. So you know what? Thinking about it right now, I might just have Mahomes over Peyton Manning. Have him at 3. Maybe if he gets another like regular season MVP, if he gets 3 or 4 at least, but he doesn't reach 5, because who has 5, bro? Peyton Manning has 5. That's like the most. So okay. So maybe if he gets to 3 or 4, that's for sure number 3. But I want to put Mahomes number 3. I'm gonna put Mahomes number 3 right now just because of that playoff record. It sticks. It might crawl the NFL MVPs, but postseason wears more. So right now I'm gonna have Mahomes slightly above Peyton Manning at number 3. But the GOAT, no way, bro. No way. Okay, it's recency bias. I get it because he's winning, but no, not right now. Mahomes is not the GOAT. Not yet, at least. Not yet. Come on, guys. Let's go. Let's pump the brakes, man. How soon they forget. Like Brady just retired a year ago. Yeah, he just retired like a year ago. Let's pump the brakes, big fellas. Let's pump the brakes. This is first year out of the NFL. You weren't ready to crown Mahomes the GOAT. Like, nah, bro. Let's pump on it. But let's go into the Super Bowl predictions. Let's get on to my season predictions. And let's start off with who I had in the Super Bowl, okay? My early winner. This is before the season I called this. I said Niners-Bills. And obviously the Niners made it. And we lost. Like I said in the beginning, I was talking about the whole thing. But that's one, right? At least I say we're going to the Super Bowl. I didn't get the winner, but I said we're going to the Super Bowl. Then I had the Bills. And the Bills, they had an okay. They were up and down. Remember, they were like, 6-6 at a point. And they had that 4-game winning streak. So they went 10-6. Or 11-6. 11-6, my bad. They went 11-6. And they made it to the playoffs. They beat the Steelers. And they ran into the buzzsaw Chiefs. I think that was their best opportunity to beat the Chiefs. And they didn't do it. So that was disappointing to see. But at least I got the Niners in there, bro. Give me one step ahead. Season MVP, right? I had Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow, he got injured week 10. So then after week 10, I forgot what he had. But then something in his finger, remember? It was his finger. And so they had to fix it or replace it. And then his season was over after that injury. They started off slow to the season, the Bengals did, and then it started to come a little bit more forward towards the end. I think when they beat us in week 8, I believe when they beat the Niners at week 8, that's when they started to get momentum. But that injury obviously derailed the season because Joe is their franchise quarterback. So who ended up winning? Lamar. Lamar ended up winning the regular season MVP, and though it's not outrageous that he won, like I could see why he won, I think CMC should have gone more votes, or at least, won, or he should have gone at least more votes, because he led the league in rushing with 1,459 yards. That's 300 more than the next running back, which is Derrick Henry. And then he averaged more yards per game at 100. The Niner offense revolves around CMC. He can do everything. He can catch. Obviously, he can run. He can catch. Blocking needs to get to work on, but he runs routes like a receiver. Yards after catch, like he could throw the ball. Like bro could do everything. So CMC is that guy. So I think he should have gotten more votes for sure. While Lamar was 15th in passing yards. 15th in passing yards. That's for a quarterback. So he was like median. He's literally average in passing yards, like 15th place. But he did have a touchdown interception ratio of 24-7, and that is pretty good. He was huge for his team, and he's a quarterback. So that's why they gave him the MVP, because the Ravens were probably the best regular season team. It was us and the Ravens, but obviously I think the Ravens beat us Christmas Day, so they gave it to the Ravens as the best regular season team. Did have a 24-7 interception ratio. And he's a quarterback. It's more valuable. That's a more valuable position. So I understand why they gave it to him. I understand that. But 15th, man, 15th's a lot of. That's average. I don't like that, but I mean, it is what it is. Offensive Player of the Year, I had Stephon Diggs winning it, and he didn't play up to par. He was 13th in yards. He only had 8 touchdowns, only 70 yards per game. He had 2 fumbles, and like I was saying, the Bills were up and down this season. Sometimes he was involved, sometimes he was not. So he just didn't live up to the billing. But CMC won, which is deserving because I literally just made the argument for CMC for MVP. So obviously he would win Offensive Player of the Year. But he's a running back, right? He's a running back. That's why he didn't win MVP, but he gets Offensive Player of the Year. Defensive Player of the Year, I had Micah Parsons, and I think he played well enough to win, but Garrett won. But there's a lot of backlash that people wanted TJ Watt to win. They wanted TJ Watt to be the guy to win instead of Myles Garrett or Micah Parsons. And I could see it because Garrett won, right? But he had 14 sacks, 37 pressures, 33 solo tackles, 17 tackles for loss, 0 interceptions, 4 forced fumbles, one fumble recovery. Micah had 14 sacks, 43 pressures, 36 solo tackles, 18 tackles for loss, 0 interceptions, 1 forced fumble, 1 forced fumble recovery. So him and Garrett are similar. But then you go to TJ Watts. He had 19 sacks, which led the NFL. He had 50 pressures, led the NFL. He had 48 solo tackles, I think, which led the NFL. 19 tackles for loss, 1 interception for touchdown as well. He's a defensive end. And then he had 4 forced fumbles, 3 fumble recoveries. So his stats are better than all 3. Than all 2, than Garrett and Micah. But then Micah came out saying like, oh, Myles deserves it because he gets double teamed more and fans gotta watch the film. Like, first of all, Micah, I'm not gonna watch film because I'm not a football player, bro. I'm not gonna watch film. No one watches film unless you're a coach or a player. 2, my TJ Watt also got double teamed a bunch of times. So it's not just Micah Parsons not just Myles Garrett who gets double teamed. Okay, so did TJ Watt. He got double teamed a lot. That's not an excuse. Elite defensive ends, elite outside linebackers get held and get double teamed all the time. That's not an excuse. So I can see the backlash of why TJ should have won because his stats all above the board say he's better. And he's a big deal for that defense, for that Steelers defense. So I can see why people want TJ to win. I actually would have had Micah over Garrett as well. Not just because he was my pick, but I just think he just did better because Garrett just disappeared in the biggest game. So did Micah, but I would have had Micah over Garrett. But Garrett won, and it is what it is. Rookie Offensive Player of the Year. Had Anthony Richardson, but he got injured like week 5, I believe. But he ruptured his shoulder, so he was done for the season. But CJ Stroud won, which is good. I think it's just right. It's right. Him and Puka were in the contention for both. I wouldn't have been mad if they picked Puka if Puka won. Because he was like, he was top 4 in yards, bro. He was 600 yards after catch. Only 4 receivers with that, and that was the top 4 receivers. I think it was Tyreek, CeeDee Lamb, and Amon-Ra St. Brown. So I wouldn't have been mad at that, but CJ, he was top 8 in yards. He had a 23-5 touchdown interception ratio, which is for a rookie is unbelievable, bro. Like, a rookie only threw 5 interceptions. Rookies obviously throw 10, 15, 20 interceptions. And he only threw 5. And then he's a quarterback. Quarterback's just more valuable, like we talked about. Quarterback's just a more valuable position than every other position. Because it's the quarterback position. And people even complain it in sports. People even say in sports. They proclaim that in sports, QB position is more valuable. So I'm mad. I wouldn't have been mad at either, but I think CJ, he deserved to win. Rookie defensive year, player of the year. Well, I just said that so wrong, bro. Defensive rookie of the year. Will Anderson Jr. I predicted him and I got it right. Okay, people wanted Witherspoon, which I ain't hating because he was pretty good this year, but like I said in my prediction, pass rushers always get the love. They're the quarterbacks of the defense, basically. Like, people want to say linebacker, and I think linebacker mentally, yes, like being the leader. But who I think was more valuable is the defensive end, is the edge rushers, the pass rushers. Okay, they get more love because they're just more valuable. Like, because you got to get to the quarterback. Like I said in my prediction, he had 7 sacks, 29 solo tackles, 10 tackles for loss, 0 interceptions, 0 forced fumbles, which is bad, but I mean, 29 solo tackles, 7 sacks for rookie is pretty good, even though Nick Bosa had like 8. He had 8, but alright, Will Anderson Jr., I got it right, so I'm going to give myself some credit. Comeback player of the year, I had Damar Hamlin, but Joe Flacco won. It really surprised me because Hamlin, I know he wasn't a starter, and a lot of people were giving him shit for that. But I mean, bro literally died on the field. He died on the field and he came back to life and is still playing football. And he's getting all this hate. Like, I don't understand the hate. Like, because no one's saying he's a great player. No one is saying that he's the best safety in the world. No one is saying he's even a good safety. They're just saying that bro is still alive and actually playing special teams. Like, but... And then after that, bro, like, bro's playing in the NFL after dying. That should just kill. That should just be a straight up. And people are like, that's crazy, bro. How you just gonna give him the award for that? Like, did you just hear yourself? Did you just hear yourself what you just said? Let's not give the comeback player of the year the guy who died on the field. Like, no one is saying he's the greatest player ever. No one is saying that. But I mean, he's playing in the NFL after he died. Like, think about that. That's insane, bro. Like, I can't with these people, man. I just can't. But whatever. Congrats to Joe Flacco. Even Joe Flacco said Damar Hamlin should have won it, but whatever. Coach of the year, Kevin Stefanski won, but I had Sean Payne or Dan Campbell. And I think Sean Payne was obviously wrong. That boy did not do a good job. But Dan Campbell got robbed. Okay, I know Stefanski had like 3 QBs, but Dan Campbell took the Detroit Lions, to the NFC Championship game. He won them 2 playoff games. Yeah, 2 playoff games, bro. Against the Rams, against the Bucks. 2 playoff games. For them to be there. A Detroit team who hasn't won a playoff game since 1991 before this season. He got him there. He got him to the NFC Championship game. Like, come on, bro. Dan Campbell should have won. Robbed. But that was my, predictions on that. But see the predictions who I made, man. I said teams who didn't make the playoffs last year to make it this year. And I went 2 out of 6, which is not bad. I picked the Lions. I picked the Jets. I picked the Broncos, Saints, Colts, and the Rams. Obviously, the Rams made it, which people had them as, what's it called? Not recovering, rebuilding. They had them rebuilding this year, which is no idea where they got that. Like, bro, Stafford got injured last year, came back healthy this year. They had AD. Puka was a great draft. Like, I don't know what they're talking about. But anyways, I had the Rams right. Colts, Richardson got injured, so that's what kind of messed up their season. Saints, don't know what happened there, bro. They just collapsed. Like, I don't know. So I got them wrong. Broncos, again, I'm just never picking the Broncos again, ever make the playoffs, because every time I do, they just don't. They just suck for some reason. Not picking them, but I got them wrong. Jets, A-Rod injury, derailed the season. They were done. So that sucked for them. And the Lions. I mean, almost people picking the Lions to get to the playoffs, but hey, I gotta give myself credit. So I do 2 out of 6. And then I had teams that will fail to make hype or fail to meet the expectations. I had the Cowboys and I had the Browns. The Cowboys. I I hyped them up too much. I highballed them in my prediction. I said every year they said they're going to the Super Bowl. They won't even make the division. Actually, I said they won't even win the divisional, right? So I expected them to make the divisional. They didn't even make it. They lost in the wild card, bruh. Just embarrassing. So I got it right there. Got it right. For the Browns, so I'm gonna give myself. I'm gonna give this myself because I think I got it. But I mean, I said they won't make the playoffs, and they did. But they made it, and they got blown out by the Texans. So they barely made it, and they got blown out. So I mean, should I give I was 50-50 because I said they wouldn't make the playoffs, and they did. So now I won't. I'll say 1-1 just because I said they won't make it, and they did. 1-1 in that predictions, but gotta do what you gotta do. With that being said, that is the end of the episode, man. I love the NFL season. Great season this year. I mean, the NFL season never doesn't have a great season. It's always good. So it's just very sad, very depressing the way that it ended as a Niner fan. But it's the NFL, man. It is what it is. That's my favorite saying. Y'all know that, bro. It is what it is. And life moves on. We'll see y'all next season. We see y'all next season for the NFL. And keep up to date on my podcast for more sports. Champions League, March Madness coming up, NBA basketball coming up, Copa America, Copa America Euros coming up. Y'all know, bro. Y'all know the deal. Stay tuned. No more NFL till next year. But there's other sports to come along. And y'all keep listening. Y'all keep out there. See y'all.